Good evening tonight. Excuse me. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Anime-Zing Radio here on YouTube. My name is Darren, your co-host, and joining to me tonight in the host seat is the man whose this show would not exist without, Mr. Doug Engler.
Hello. We're switching things up tonight, letting Darren have fun at the controls for a little bit.
Yep, and also tonight, Anime-Zing Radio is brought to you by Casey Fox. That's KAYCOFXX. For all your artwork, cosplay, and photography needs, check out Casey Fox on Twitter and Instagram. We're also brought to you tonight by HomecircleMedia.com for the latest and greatest in anime gear, everything from pens, pencils, stationeries, and officially licensed art books. Be sure to check out their website at HomecircleMedia.com or look for them at an upcoming convention near you. And we are also brought to you tonight by Triple S Lawn Care. If you are living in the Raleigh-Durham area and you need any kind of lawn service done throughout the year, feel free to give me a call or find me at my Facebook page at Triple S Lawn Care on Facebook or facebook.com/Triple S Lawns.
Awesome job, Darren. How's it feel to have the commander seat for a moment?
It's been a minute, not since that show we did with Matt.
And we have two amazing guests joining us tonight. These are some of the best people I know and have had the honor to hang out with at conventions, after cons, play games with, chat with, get married by. These are two gentlemen that helped shape me to be the person I am today because we love these people. We love having them on the show. Please welcome Jay Mooers and Rusty Gilligan.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
And guys, it is so great to see you guys. This is a new format for you guys with Anime-Zing Radio. Both of them are veterans of being on the show, but this is the first time that we have been live with cameras and them joining us.
I actually had to put clothes on for this one.
You didn't have to, Rusty.
Wow. If I don't have to, then hell. Oh, okay.
You only need the shirt. Pants are optional,
Well,
That's what I was told, so I'm not standing up.
About to say, we're not even monetized yet. Please don't do anything to keep us from getting monetized.
This is the type of show it's going to be tonight, folks. We're going to have a fun time. For those of you who don't know, Jay and Rusty are both amazingly talented artists, comic creators, and just all-around awesome people.
we paid him to say that.
I wish, but no, this is all honest stuff. We have, like I said, Rusty, we had the honor of having Rusty marry my wife and I at a Comic-Con in Wilmington, Mass, a Northeast Comic-Con Collectibles Extravaganza at the Shriners Auditorium, which was an amazing experience in and of itself.
It was the first wedding and first and only wedding there, too, which is kind of cool.
And it was Pokemon themed, so they definitely have stories to tell, future members.
Yeah, that was a very cool night. Very cool night.
And of course, like I said, we have an amazingly talented artist and comic creator with Jay Mooers. Jay is very good with dragons. Dragons is one of the things that he is really phenomenal at, which is why I looked at all the anime figures I had. Rusty is awesome. A lot of his work is revolved around cats with the Mac and Trouble comics and stuff. I really didn't have any cat figures, so I had to go after a dragon girl. Which, Jay, hopefully you can draw some, dragons that look similar to this in the future. I'm sure they would sell great.
I've drawn things similar to that, yes. I don't know if they were dragons, but we can work on their history.
Just because you said something, Doug, I think I might turn my camera on and put my Konako figure out in front of it.
Oh, do it. Then we'd have the cat girl as well. We'd have both of our guests honored by anime figures.
Let me find the thing that she sits on real quick. I gotta look through my box.
That sounded bad.
Why does that sound dirty when he says it?
Only because you make it dirty, Rusty.
There you go.
We have a cat there. Yay!
There we go.
So
Yeah,
how do you guys
Except
Except that I don't have anything to put it on, so. Let me see. How about this? Let's see if this will work. Nope.
I do have dragons, but I'd have to go on a ladder or something.
There we go. How about this?
Now, I know you guys have both been busy as of late, lots of projects and stuff going on. Jay, why don't you go first? What have you been up to?
All right. How long is this thing?
We got 2 hours.
Oh my God, she's sideways.
Wow, does she have a sister?
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does.
Of course, Rusty.
Yes. A quite seductive sister at that.
And she is a cat girl.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to watch season 3 of High School DxD to find out.
Mm-hmm.
He's writing down right now.
Well, we've been on him to watch High School DxD for a minute, so maybe this will help further convince him.
Is he convinced?
And in DxD, clothing is optional for a lot of the female characters.
Actually, clothing is kind of banned if you consider his technique.
That's true. But back on the question at hand, Jay, what have you been up to?
Well, let's see. I've been working for a lot of different companies lately, which makes it difficult to work on my own things. I've been working. I just started working on some DC artwork for collector cards. Rusty's also been working on that.
A lot of fun.
We got some Star Wars coming up. I don't know if anyone's heard of that. I'm doing some work for that. No? Okay, nobody here's heard of Star Wars. All right. Moving on. I just did some work for King Kong. Some large-scale artwork for that, which was fun. But my own projects, I have a tabletop RPG that I've been working on. It's in play testing right now. I'm actually starting to put the final book together with full of illustrations because I can't help myself. But it's called Fae, and it's based on the world that I created with my comic series Autumn Gray.
Oh, awesome! I'd seen the pictures you had posted about that. You were almost in the game testing mode.
Yes, I am in game testing right now. I got people trying to punch holes in the system, seeing if they can break it, which is good. You want to make sure that the system is solid. And at this point, I'm just starting to flesh out the whole book, filling it with illustrations. Rusty's been actually doing some of the artwork for the book. I also have Jim Lawson from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fame doing some artwork for the book as well.
Oh, wow.
I might recruit a couple of other people for some odds and ends, but most of it is me with a couple extra spicy flavorings from Rusty and Jim so far.
That's awesome.
But
I can't wait for it to come out.
Oh, thanks. I'm actually hoping. We have a show. I have a Comic-Con this weekend, which you know about, in Saratoga, New York, and I'm trying to set up a playtest table there so people can start playing with a rough version of the game. Give it a go. And other than that, I've got children's books going on. Just trying to keep up with everything.
Oh, wow. You definitely have been staying busy. And Darren, I apologize for keep muting the mic. You've got the feedback issue again, and I don't know why we keep getting feedback on your camera there.
You insulted him. He left.
Now, I think he might switch to his tablet when he uses his phone. Let's see if this works better. Sounding a little bit better.
I still get the feedback.
Might be because my house is empty and all hardwood floors.
Potentially. And Rusty, how have you been? What have you been working on?
Oh, a lot of the same stuff that he's been working on because we seem to follow it. We seem to run in the same circles.
That's right. We're kind of becoming a dynamic duo. We've been doing a lot of work together, and we've learned that we both have strong points. And if we mix our strong points, we get some pretty pointy stuff.
We did. We worked on. We're working on the DC cards right now. I'm going to look at my chart here of what I got here.
I didn't even look at my chart. I know it's just sitting right here.
we did the Golden Age Daredevil, the COVID, and the Monster card sets for Bragent.
Yeah.
And we have Star Wars coming up.
And we did a little dinosaur thing for a certain Rusty Ink.
Yeah, my dinosaur set. We did Twilight Zone book for Maine.
Yep.
And we're doing the DC cards for Cryptozoic. I have Top Spaceball. I just got done doing the Jay and Silent Bob card set for Upper Deck. We have Jay. Did you get on the Leaf cards?
The Leaf cards.
The ones that say Break King or whatever it is.
No.
I have that, and then I have a Western set coming up. Other than that,
we have to have the toys set coming up too.
Yeah, we have the
Artist Assemble.
We did that one, and we did the last one. Was what was it? It was horror.
Yeah, it was modern horror.
Modern horror. So then I have I have 2 new card sets coming up, and I have a cookbook and I have a comic that are all in the works. And I just got done doing voices for 2 horror films, and I'm doing a voice and artwork for the Ghostbusters Web Series coming up.
Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a big year. I mean, I thought 2020 was going to be great, and it got screwed. And I thought 2021 was going to be great, and it got screwed. But I think that next year is going to be awesome.
Next year is with conventions slowly working their way back in, and everybody, testing the waters. I've been to a couple of conventions this year. Attendance has been down from what we're used to at these certain conventions, but I think with them slowly coming back, I think 2022 has a potential of being a year where everybody starts getting back to normal, kind of normal, or the new normal from before pandemic times.
I had to stop doing conventions because of my health. I'm having a bad problem with my back and my leg. Same stuff that we've talked about before, but I had to stop doing conventions. So mostly what I'm doing now is ever since the pandemic started, I've gotten more work than I've gotten. Let's put it this way. I've gotten more work from the beginning of the pandemic till now than I've gotten in 10 years.
It's crazy how much not that long ago, I was like, all right, I need to stop taking projects and I got to get my RPG finished. But you can't say no to certain, you don't want to burn any bridges. Before you know it, your schedule's filled right back up again.
Right.
And it's an interesting issue to have, especially where, as I'm sure starting out as artists, you were just hoping to get work, where now you've got so much on your plate, it's tough to keep track of everything.
The funny thing, I just got done, I did an interview for a magazine maybe about 2 weeks ago, and I was just telling the interviewer, years ago, I had a old pro turn around and tell me, in times of no work, make your own. And I've been doing this for a long time. So is Jay. I've been doing this for a long time. And when I first started, there was no work. There was just Marvel and DC. The card companies weren't hiring anybody for art, and there was just advertising work, which stunk. And one of the things that I did was I steered away from the negative attitudes. Jay knows what I'm talking about because every once in a while we talk about this too. And I don't want to overtake a conversation with this, but one of the things that I learned from some of the older pros back in the 90s, when Image and a few others were starting to come up, what they call the independents, they were, don't do work for free. You don't have to get your name out there, get paid for everything, screw the editor, and on and on and on. And I didn't go that way. So what I did is I set myself up to whatever they were offering, take it. I don't negotiate. That's fine. Everything from a nickel to $1,000, whatever it is, just take it and get it over with. Get the work out there, keep the work going, keep progressing, whatever. And I started doing basically what was called job stacking. And I haven't had an empty period for more than a couple of years, because that's just the way you have to be. I know that Jay does a lot of commercial work for other people as well. What do you think, Jay? What's your feeling about that?
Well, and when I first started getting involved, say in sketch cards, which is a predominant form that we both spend a lot of time working on, sometimes you're working for $3 to $6 an hour. Sometimes, right. You're making far less than minimum wage on the time you spend working on it, but you also have to bear in mind it's opening doors by taking these jobs, like you said, that don't pay great. You gotta balance it out, but you gotta figure out what you gain besides money by doing the project. I've some of these sketch cards I've done for next to nothing have then all of a sudden they're reaching out to me to color a comic series or to do a cover, or then suddenly someone's reaching out for me to do Star Wars cards. It just it builds up. So what happens is you start by taking these little nickel and dime projects,
right?
But you need to figure out how you can use that to reach out to better projects. And before you know it, you've got a freaking floodgate opened up, and you're one of those guys everyone reaches out to, and then it's great, but it's also like, I'm full of stuff.
Well, you know what? It's funny because I used to do a panel when I went to comic book shows. I did it at Wizard for a number of years. I did it in Vegas when I was out there, and in New York. California, I did it San Diego one time. It was called Free to Fee, and I used to teach people through the panel how to do free work and make it pay for you. Yep. It wasn't just advertising and getting out there. In other words, getting your name out there. There are actual practical ways of making money off of doing free jobs, and I've told people for years ways of doing it. One example, I worked on the Lady Gaga comic book about 10, 12 years ago. Not a big fan of hers, and she doesn't like me now either, but because that comic book came from a company that was crap. But what happened was I got shafted on the job. They didn't pay me, and I went after them, and I couldn't go after them any further. I wound up selling all of the original pages signed. And then I wound up doing sketches of Lady Gaga and closing them on the backer boards of the comics. I did commissions. After about a year and a half, my work was appearing on MTV, and I probably made more money on my own than I would have, at least triple over, doing what I got under contract.
Yeah.
And it's funny because there are other ways. I mean, there's many other ways. A lot of people don't know how to do things like keep a clip art library, or if they do, they work on something that's public domain, they don't know how to use that art and reuse it and enhance it and reuse it, on and on and on. I have to say, maybe 5 to 10% of the artwork I do is just rehashings of work that I've already done, because what they're interested in is the final product. They're not really looking for you to be Rembrandt. They don't mind if you're Xerox. So that's okay. And I'm sure, Jay, you've done the same.
Yeah, like some of my early stuff, I did some book covers for next to nothing. and people were like, "What are you doing?" But I intentionally retained rights to the artwork.
Mhm.
They had the rights to use it for a cover. So then, over the next couple of years, I sold. Let's just throw out some numbers here. Like I got paid peanuts to do the cover for the guy, but then I sold prints of it, $10 a pop.
Right.
Sold 30, 40 prints, and then sold the original painting.
I
So
did.
not only I made so much money off of that piece,
Right.
that I did for next to nothing originally.
I did a Lone Ranger cover for a book. I sold the original for over $200, and it was just a black and white original because it was digitally covered. I put a sheriff's badge in the bottom right corner, and in the circle of the sheriff's badge, I would put different, show names. So it'd be like, this convention, that convention, whatever. It's been a cover. It was a print that I sold for a couple of years, and then I retired it because after a while, nobody picks it up. But then it also became a trading card for 3 different shows, and it became a show print for one show. And I actually have a possibility of the black and white being reused again for a vintage book coming up. The funny thing is, when you add all of that together, that's tremendous compared to what the cover. I mean, I got paid so little for the cover, I couldn't even go to McDonald's. And that's okay, because I knew the potential. Sometimes when you're offered a free job, you sharpen your work and you mold it so that you can use it and reuse it. So I tell a lot of artists, ink it and scan your inks really high.
Yep.
600,
everything I do, every sketch card I have like a high res scan of. Like nothing leaves until I have a high def copy of it.
That's it. And it makes great prints. It can be used in magazine articles, whatever. And you don't need the rights. If somebody does a magazine article or a podcast or something and you show your cards, as long as they're out to the public already, you can do whatever you want with them. They could see. Right. I have Superman and Batman cards I did for the very first DC set that ever came out. And they were just recently used in a podcast about, 4 or 5 months ago. We've made prints. Both of us have made prints based on our work. You do those beautiful playing cards.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually out of them right now. I didn't order them in time for Saratoga, so I'll have more next year. But
and if you're in the area and you want to come out to Saratoga Comic-Con and say hi to Jay, he's one of the headlining guests. Forget about all the actors and stuff they brought in. Just come and see Jay. He's worth price of admission.
That's all I care about when I go to shows. When Jay and I are at the same show, we were actually together at the Plattsburgh show.
Yeah, the last Plattsburgh show.
Yeah. That was a good time too.
It was. I actually, the fun thing about that show was the first time I decided I was going to cosplay, and then I learned pretty quickly that working my table and cosplaying were not the easiest combination.
Yeah, you were Gambit, right?
I was Gambit. Yep.
Yeah. I have a couple of pictures of that too.
You want to know what's even tougher than cosplaying and trying to work your table at the same con?
Having a kid?
No. Getting married at the convention you have a table at.
Yeah.
That was interesting. And we broke even being away from our table for a couple of hours at one point. We still broke even for the day, or actually for the
weekend. You should have had a gift registry at your table of things at the con you wanted, and had people go out and buy things at the convention and bring them to your table.
That would have been great. That would have been great.
That would have been great, but I think one of the coolest things that we took away from that experience of being married at a Comic-Con, aside from having Rusty, the honor of having Rusty do the service for us, we met so many people that weekend, made so many friends that we still know today, including there's a group that has blown up in the anime world of internet voice actor panels, one-on-ones, things like that, Color World Books. They were at that convention that we got married at. It's the only time I ever met them. I forgot about them until I ran across them when the pandemic started, and we've had Brad on the show once. We need to get him back on again, and we realized we knew each other. We met each other at that convention, and he now works with some Funimation voice actors. They sell officially licensed merchandise, and he brings the voice actors on for meet and greets online.
That's cool.
That was really cool.
And the awesome
and Barry Bostwick photobombed your wedding too. So
yeah, that was a plus. And Darren actually got a chance to ask him about that, and you had fun with that, didn't you, Darren?
Of course.
Oh my God, he's awake.
Darren has turned into Konako, the little cutie from High School DxD.
I'm having odd feelings about you now, Darren. I'm sorry.
I was going to say.
Oh, I think Rusty's camera froze or something.
Oh no, Rusty's gone
I didn't know you were that.
Oh, there we go.
What happened to my camera?
Oh, there you are.
Oh, there you are.
Again,
You're
Rusty.
back.
There you are.
Well,
Gotta love
There
modern
you go
technology.
again.
Gotta love modern technology.
Oh, he's got that dial-up internet, and I bet someone picked up the phone. It was terrible.
Kids today will never know.
I blame Mac. He's
Is
always
Mac
getting
chewing
into
on your
trouble.
internet
Yes.
lines over there?
It's all his fault.
Thought it was usually Trouble's fault.
This time, I think it's Mac causing trouble.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes. We've actually, and the funny thing is, Jay and I have actually done prints for shows. Remember, we did the Batman Spider-Man one.
Yeah,
then
that was the first project we did together, and then we did the Dragon.
Right, we did the Dragon, and we also did. I didn't go to that convention, but we did the Venom and Carnage based on the famous painting.
Yep.
So.
Yep, that one's still floating around.
Here's I'm gonna share a screen. Let me see if I can still do it. Hold on a second.
I showed you how to, so I hope you remember.
You click the share button on the bottom, right?
There you go.
Woo!
Who's that? Who's that in the middle?
Oh, good God! It's a good thing she's not here. She would be so mad at you.
Look at please look at my fabulous face in that picture.
So you got a little reverse harem going on there.
Well, what's really classic is if you see the idiot in the background with the hat behind the beautiful woman in between Rusty and Jay. Yeah, that's me trying to be like, hey, what are you doing with my wife?
I had to get rid of it. Now that I know it was you, I have to dump it. Hold on. I think I have to.
Rusty, I can Photoshop it. We can Photoshop that. No,
yeah, we should. We should Photoshop that.
We can have him actually do an animated GIF of him actually like peeking around the edge, like.
Sorry, I thought he was just trying to copy Barry.
He's trying to bury the picture.
And that picture was taken like 70 pounds ago before Leanne lost all the weight, which when you finally do get to see Leanne again, you will not recognize her.
Even when she posts a picture on Facebook, I'm like, I have to double take. I'm like, what?
Yeah, she has been doing a tremendous job over the last couple of years.
This is
goes
one
to
of
the
my
gym like 3 nights a week and stuff.
This is one of my favorites.
Oh my God, the little Evie! Oh my goodness!
that was Northeast Comic Con.
Yep, that was at the new hotel. That's where they're at now.
Yep. I have to say though, I actually prefer the warehouse Shriner's place, but that's just me.
So do I.
It's nothing. There's nothing against. He runs a great show, and I enjoy it. Well, I did enjoy it when I went a couple of times, but I really like the Shriners.
I actually fun little fact. After Evie was born, even though Northeast Comic Con was no longer at the Shriners, I did bring Evie to the Shriners Auditorium for a model railroad hobby show. so that she could go to the place where her parents had been married. Even though she may never remember it,
the ghost of Rusty is still there.
Too bad you couldn't go to their offices, the offices in the back, because they supposedly have a picture of when I married you guys hanging up, because it was the only wedding that was ever done there. They've had circuses, they've had hockey, they've had all kinds of things, car shows, comic shows, but it was the only wedding.
And it still is kind of surreal to look back on that whole thing and be like, man, we actually got married at a Comic-Con and made a Funimation voice actress jealous. Because she got married the same day, but she tells everybody that my wedding was better than hers because of what happened and where it was.
That's funny. Wedding envy.
And I'll put it on the record, I did invite her to come, and she said, I would love to, except I'm getting married the same day, so it's kind of neat to know I share the same birthday, day, and month as Terry Doty, another talented Funimation voice actress, and the same exact wedding anniversary as Megan Shipman, day, month, and year. Both of whom are extremely talented ladies who we've had the honor of having on the show.
That's pretty cool.
It's kind of neat to think about.
Oh.
I would hold my cats up, but I think are sleeping on the couch behind me. I know Haru is. I can see her. Ain's, I'm not sure where the little bugger is. Little dust mop.
I was messing with mine whenever I came home today. She walked right in, walked into the office, started laying on the carpet, and I kept having to pull her off.
You know, the amazing thing is, Darren's lips never move the whole time he talks.
I was going to say, that's a pretty neat trick. That's a pretty neat trick.
Those are the easiest mouth flaps you ever have to do, because it's all inner monologue.
All right, let me see if I can do
that. That's crazy. Yes, that sounds. But it's been... God, it's been quite a few years. I mean, we've been lucky enough to, Rusty, have you on the show quite a few times since the start of the pandemic. Jay,
and you've never paid me yet. So,
well, we get paid? What?
I was gonna say you just.
I told Darren to cut the checks, and it's all on him right now.
Yeah.
I'm the finance guy.
He cut something all right because this deal stinks.
But
I thought you were gonna say I cut my yard or something, because I literally cut for a living.
Oh.
He cuts the grass and sometimes the cheese at work. So
right.
That's what happens when you work for fast food restaurants. You have to cut the cheese.
Well, we don't. Well, we cut the biscuits for the cheese, but not. We're not allowed to cut stuff in half.
And we are getting sidetracked tonight, but I expected this with the wonderful guest lineup. Like I said, these are two awesome people that
get easily sidetracked.
They easily sidetracked me, and at the same time, I have talked for years about the convention family. You know, the vendors who you look at as family. These are brothers to me. These are people that I absolutely adore, love to chat with. Feel bad that we don't keep in contact more than we do, but everybody's life gets busy and everything. Especially hearing what you guys both have on your plate. So thank you so much for joining us, especially last minute where we had a guest cancellation.
About to say, Rusty's your brother. I thought he would have been your crazy uncle.
Wow. You know what, Jay? We're just like second choice because someone canceled. You want to hijack this show and make it really good?
Should we get rid of them? We'll just can we like? Oh, my hands should go this way. I'll just push this wall. See, there we go. He's gone.
About to say, if you want me to, I can remove some stuff over here.
Oh. Yeah, you can remove that guy in the hat and
and his little miniature girlfriend.
No, she can stay. Everybody's watching for her anyway. The girl's here, and Jay, and of course Rusty, the gods of art. And George in the chat room says, ears perking up, excitement. And Rusty, you've been a guest on the show many times. Think back to the early years of having you on. Do you remember the hazy radio days when we used to have Karma in the chat room?
Yeah. Yep.
That's George.
Wow.
Karma has returned.
Oh, that's great.
We are so excited that he has come back, and missed him. I know with Blog Talk, we were on there for a while, and there was a lot of connection issues with them. People had a hard time tuning in. So the fact that he was able to find us on Facebook and find the YouTube channel is amazing. So, hearts go out.
Everybody has those humble beginnings.
And it's been quite the crazy journey, but man, it's been an honor to get to meet people like you both and become friends. And the game nights at the Mooers residence, playing all the different card games. And I still have yet, Jay, to play the train game there.
Oh, Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to Ride.
What's that about?
It's a board game where you're trying to like pick up rail sections in order to connect one area to another.
Oh,
you have
cool.
certain ones you're trying to get, and other people are trying to get other ones, and they can interfere with each other's, and you're trying to like buy spaces.
It's an interesting strategy game.
Point A to point B, and the longer trains pay better, and you're trying to make more money than the other ones.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. I played it once during game night at my house. We used to do the monthly game nights.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we're too far away. I would go.
I know. There's so many times I tell Rusty, I'm like, man, if I lived near you, I'd be right over there, pick him up by the scruff of his neck, throw him in my car, and we go off and do whatever it was. But yeah, we used to do a monthly game night. It was a lot of fun. Like the whole idea was to play games that were a little more complicated than the casual, get together. Like it was a night to specifically play complicated games.
Like Choking Hazard.
Like Choking Hazard. Or were you there when we did the VHS? I dug out it was an old VHS game.
Oh my god! No, I don't think I was there for that, but I do know of a couple of VHS games.
It was great. I actually found a YouTube channel that had the entire VHS thing, so we could actually just play it on the TV because I didn't have a VCR anymore.
I used to have one of those, and then you'd advance and watch like a clip, and then pause it at that exact moment when it's over.
Well, he would interrupt the game. Basically, you're trying to thwart him while playing the game, and he would stop, and whoever's turn it was, had to do whatever he told them, and that kind of thing.
I think I had one that was an MTV game, and what it was is you put the tape in the VCR, and you fast forward it for whatever the count was on the dice, and then you paused it, and then someone would they'd roll a dice and move around the board, and when you landed on a TV, you had to unpause it, and you had to guess what the song name was or the band was that played the video. That was like maybe a 5-second clip. But it was very cool. Yeah. And then I had one that was a Disney one that was really cute. Yeah. I kind of wish that they had made them a little bit better, because I would have just kept the tapes.
Well, what they did, like this one that I have, they have a newer version with newer as in like made in the 90s, with a DVD. And the DVD would change the order each time you played it. It would skip the different parts, so it wouldn't be if you played it before, when this is going to happen and when that was going to happen. You know what I mean? So it would shuffle.
Yeah. Yep. I also had one that was a record, like an actual phonograph record. And you'd put the needle down in different places. I thought that was kind of cool. That was like the earliest precursor, but I thought that was kind of cool. So,
He just kept playing the fart sounds over and over and over again. On that.
That's right. So the one we played was called Harbingers of Souls, and you all play different monsters, and you're trying to collect keys from everyone's other areas. You want to get all the keys and get to the middle to stop the crypt keeper or whatever the guy was on the screen.
It's funny. I love word games. I played Scrabble for years. I actually joined in on tournaments for a long time. I really enjoyed that. I know that it's not in the same league as games like this, but I that was my game claim to fame. But I really enjoyed that because I was in one tournament and I actually came in 10th place. There's hundreds of people, and what it was is they were 4-way games, and we would continue playing, and then whoever was the highest score would move up, and whoever was the lowest score would move down, and the middle two people were eliminated. And they kept doing that until there was 2 final tables, the ultimate 4 losers and the ultimate 4 winners. And whoever the 2 winners were would win in their category. And I came in 10th, which meant I was 2 tables away from the end. So awesome. I enjoyed it, and they were for money. So, that was great. And then when I was in Las Vegas, when I was wrestling in Vegas, I actually joined a roulette tournament, and I came out with $25,000.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. So I love stuff like that.
I haven't been that lucky with gaming and stuff like that, but
it's your deodorant.
It could be.
I got a casino.
It's Old Spice, so I need to get some new spice.
I could walk to the casino down the street. It's about 5-minute walk, about a 1-minute drive.
You're so lucky. I would die if that was there. I would
be broke.
I've only been there 3 times. 2 times I walked out with money and basically a free meal, and then the other time I lost my $20. It was very sad.
It's funny. I don't really care about the gambling so much. I could just sit at like a penny slot and just talk to somebody and have a good time.
Yeah,
I love the buffet. I like the shows. I like the atmosphere. We have Mount Airy Casino out here, and it's kind of like an older, retro-looking, like private casino. Mm-hmm. And we would go and we would eat, walk around, and sometimes we would just walk around, and it was just very cool.
Yeah, people watching at casinos is
yeah
amazing.
They don't realize the power that they have. Now I heard there are some states where they're actually charging people to go into the casino.
Yeah, they do a cover charge.
Yeah,
because they give out drinks and stuff, right. But a lot of them. So like, wait a minute, we got people that are just showing up for free drinks, So
I never, it's funny. Even when I was wrestling and we would be at the table, because I'd be at the roulette table for like 4 hours, 3 hours at a time. I never took the free drinks. Do you want anything? No, thanks. I'm okay. And that was it. But I remember when we were, when I was wrestling, this was about the mid to late 80s. And we would wrestle in old Las Vegas at the Showboat Hotel. And then it would be on closed circuit TV and then local TV, for the West Coast, maybe about an hour to 2 hours later. And what we did was we would take the shuttle from old Showboat Hotel to where Stardust was. Now, unfortunately, both hotels have been torn down. I think the Stardust is where Treasure Island is now. But anyway, we would get there and they would block off a whole section of the tables, and we would actually sit and eat at the roulette table and play.
There you go.
People
VIP treatment, huh?
Yeah, really. People would see us on the TV and they would come up and ask us for autographs while we were eating dinner at the roulette table. But see, the hotel thought it was great because, it's like a live newscast or a live DJ or whatever. We were right there. And then they got mad when we said we had to go to bed. It's like, dude, it's 2 a.m. We can't eat anymore. We have to go. My butt's getting sore on this chair. We got to go. And they're like, just stay for a little bit longer. We have a group of, I don't know, whatever it is, Japanese investors or something, and they want to come in and they want to watch it. We're going to rerun the show, and on and on and on and on. It's actually pretty cool, but it was worse to sit there for very long than it was to get injured in the ring. So, but I love the casinos.
I have found a new poison. Fortunately, that I haven't found any near me, but watching different gamblers on YouTube, I've seen like the people who videotape themselves scratching scratch tickets, which when seeing the winners and stuff, for some reason I feel just as excited as they do when they hit big. But there was coin pushers, which I've always enjoyed, like the county fair coin pusher. You throw a quarter in, the bar moves, it pushes quarters off. You may get one or two. You might get a small little pocket knife trinket or something stupid like that. But there are some coin pusher casinos out there where they could pay off thousands of dollars.
Yeah. The Mount Airy one that we have out here, they have every Sunday, they have like promotions where if you're like one of the first 500 people, they do things like you get a token, you go play, and then if you hit a certain amount, you can come back and you get like, they give away like sets of dinnerware, and they give away like sweatshirts and all kinds of stuff. And then everybody's entered for a car once a month. It's amazing. But, they have money to burn. So, right. If you think about it, what a casino makes in an hour, they could peel off 90% and still make a profit. The house always wins.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And so does Darren with his Conoco there.
Yep.
Yes, but what he does, we can't put on camera. So
his Rhea's figure we can't put on camera.
About to say, is that with her clothes on or without?
The fact that he has a figure that he can take all of the clothes off and it's detailed is remarkable and scary at the same time.
Take off the clothes. He got that figure out of the box, and the first thing he did was look for an eraser, and he's like, get that damn bikini off. So, I know.
I have to say, all the tops are removable, but only one of them. Well, I take that back. Both parts are removable, but only certain ones have detail.
We'll edit that part out.
Pretty much.
Be the most exciting.
Wait, this is live. How do you edit that out?
Be like one of those CNN moments. Didn't he say that an hour ago? No.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
It's fake news. So, Jay, let me ask you a question. How did you get started in the art business?
Well, I always loved to draw. And I went to an art college. I went to Mass Art in Boston. And then I graduated and did nothing with it like most other people. Out of all the people that I kept in touch with, which are not a lot, but out of all of them, I am the only one that still draws in any. I mean, I'm sure they still doodle, but I'm the only one that does anything with it. So some time passed. I would work on this project. I wrote a couple of play scripts, and of course, I illustrated the plays because I do artwork. So I was illustrating things and writing things here and there. And I think I was doing a little bit of commission work here and there because people would be like, "Oh, I heard you draw. Can you do a picture of, my son, blah, blah, or my dog, or, that kind of stuff." And then I went on a family trip to Disney, and we were walking around, and I was thinking about how they're always out hunting for another fairy tale to tell. And I just thought to myself, why don't they just write a new fairy tale? Instead of trying to find one that already exists and completely change it, just make your own fairy tale. And then I thought, well, why don't I write a fairy tale? So that's kind of how I started. My first solo project was Illweed, which is I still sell. It's still one of my most popular books. It was my first solo project. It was my kind of kick in the pants to get something actually published. I self-published it. I set it up with a print-on-demand place. My family bought it. When you first release your first thing, everybody in your family buys it, and you buy yourself a little stack and you give them out to certain people, and then people started ordering it, and I was getting some good reviews on it, and then it got thrown into a bundle thing with some other books, and then a school in Great Britain bought enough for the entire class, which was awesome.
Wow.
Suddenly, my book wasn't available on Barnes and Noble, but it was available on Amazon .eu, like the European one.
That's great.
It wasn't available here, but you could get it on Amazon there because they had bought enough that they put it on, like it was auto put on Amazon because of the sales of it.
Wow.
It's funny. It's funny. I haven't hit Amazon with any of my stuff for some reason.
I haven't either. They auto did it. It was weird.
That's great.
But not here. That was only in Europe.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? Sometimes you have a better life someplace else. Like for example, when I first put out the Mac in Trouble comic book, I did cards. Like the free cards I used to give out at the conventions. People used to contact me from all over the world asking me about those cards. I've had Russia, China, Japan, all over the UK, Canada, Mexico. It's insane.
Yeah.
One time I had this lady in Scotland ask me to sign like 20 of them or something for the kids in her class. And I usually tell them all, I say, you can have any of the cards or as many as you want for free. Just send the postage.
Yep.
Because I can't afford that. It's like $7 just to send a small pouch.
That's like 3 sketch cards right there.
Yeah. It's insane.
Hour and
a half right there.
Right.
Not to say, how recent was that pricing? Because I'm sure it's gone up since then.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's gone crazy.
I was just telling somebody the other day, when I was a boy, the actual postage stamps were 10 cents. Now they're 58.
I thought they were 50.
And now the regular postage stamp is 58 now. And then the funny thing is, they complain that they don't have enough money. And every time they raise it, nothing ever happens. So it's not like, we're charging 50 cents a stamp now, but we're going to get better. We're going to get faster. We won't lose anything or break anything. That doesn't happen. As a matter of fact, I think they got worse.
Yeah, at this point, it's like, yeah, you might get it. Yeah, it might show up sometime.
Yeah, especially if you're ordering stuff internationally. It's I subscribe to get a monthly anime crate for 3 months in a row. We literally just got the August one in like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And I'm still waiting on 2 more, which one might come in November and one might come in December.
See, it's funny. I never complain about the mail or anything in the industry. I do a lot of Indiegogo campaigns. And I remember one time I did an Indiegogo and I spent, I think it was like $5 to get a comic. And the guy sent me the comic like a year and a half later. And I didn't feel like, oh, he's going to rip me off or whatever. I just waited. It's like a pre-order. I've had that happen. Some people at Image, people will pre-order a book and the book will never come out. And, you can't just go to the store and say, I want my money back because, it gets pulled. So, but I've had ordered, I do a lot of ordering for like holidays, birthdays, Christmas, whatever. And sometimes they'll come like the week after. And you're like the night before, I should say the day before, like the birthday, you're sitting there going, bring it. You're going to mess up everything. And then that day you're like, well, I bought you a gift, but it didn't come in the mail. I'm so sorry.
I printed up an image from the thing. Here you go.
Right. one year I printed out pictures of everything that I bought people and
I
stuck
did
them
that
up.
this past Christmas for my wife. Her big present was in an envelope because it wasn't going to show up till the end of January.
It sucks, but what can you do?
Yeah.
I don't complain. Like if it's something that's easy, like I just sent out all the Dino cards that I did the set, and one guy got his, and he's like, "Well, I've been waiting since September," and I said, first of all, you're part of an Indiegogo campaign. You might have to wait a year, depending on, even if people tell you the right date. And I said, second of all, I'm really surprised that it took 3 weeks to get to you, but okay, big deal. I don't know. They're not. They don't do very much for their reputation. I'll say that much.
And I'm not bashing the post office. I know things have gotten crazier with international shipping and stuff. I have a lot of respect for the men and women who work for the post office. My dad worked for the post office for years, so I know what goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
And a lot of stuff is out of their control, especially with, backups, and you're waiting on ships or planes or trucks or whatever the case may be on how a package is getting there.
Ironically, one of my customers literally just retired from the post office after 49 years. And he said his main issue right now is training all these new people because they don't want to work or have trouble understanding the concept of the job.
Yeah.
Now I've got a question for Jay and Rusty. Jay, we'll start with you. What was it like the first time you were at a convention? The first time you had a table at a convention?
Well, I can actually fall right back into my story about becoming an artist because it steps right into that next. So after I wrote that first book, I started writing a book called Autumn Gray, and it was too long, and I was losing track of what I thought about writing versus what I had written. So I decided I needed to break it down into smaller pieces. And that's when I decided to draw my first comic. I was like, you know what? I can break it down to a comic. What the heck? And again, my family bought copies. I found that they were less interested in it because if you don't read comics, you're really not interested in the comic. But they're like, yay, good job, Jay. Yay, I have your comic. Will you sign my comic? But I printed up a box of them and always hoped to sell them to people, just talking to people like, hey, I have a comic, But then a friend of mine told me about Free Comic Book Day. And at the time, I did not collect comics. I did not know the comic book world at all. And I went to this Free Comic Book Day at the shop they worked at. And I set up my little table, and I had like my box of books. And I made a little sign, hung it on the front of the table. And I sold out of books at the Comic-Con. And I was like, and then of course, other people there are like, oh, you should do this show. Or, oh, you should do this. I'm like, okay. So, I'm right there on my phone, like reaching out to the people, nabbing a table at this thing, that thing, or calling to print up more books. And I'm like furiously trying to get the second one done so I have something new for the next. And that's kind of how I fell into it. So it was a Free Comic Book Day. And then my second show was at a hockey rink. It was supposed to be a full weekend show. That Saturday, nobody was there except for the vendors. And as the day went on, fewer and fewer vendors were there. And then they called the rest of us later on that evening and said, don't bother tomorrow. So that was my second impression with the Comic-Con. And then my third one was actually Super Mega Fest.
Wow.
Back when it was in the hotel. I think you guys have all been at Super Mega Fest at one point or another.
I've been there once.
It's a melting pot convention.
Yeah. A little bit of everything.
Nowadays, it's more of a end of the season cosplay get together party show.
A couple of shows turned out like that.
Yeah, which is great. I mean, if that's what you do, then that's where you want to go for that kind of thing. But it definitely, like, as far as being a show to make money at or network, it kind of flatlined after a little bit because it's kind of the same people all the time. Which it's nice to see everybody, but it's hard to justify
it's
weekend
hard,
of work.
it's hard to go to a convention when you're a creator or when you're an artist, because you don't just, even if you're a guest or a headliner, you don't just go just to sit at the table. You have stuff on the table and you sell it, and you're hoping to make money at it.
But there's two things you're looking for. You're looking to network, and you're looking to make some money.
Right, and it subsidizes the things that you do.
Right.
I mean, even if it's just getting gas and getting dinner.
Yep.
You know, I've been at some shows where I've actually made nothing. Like literally, just you walk in, you sit down, you build your table. You've already spent money on gas, spent money on breakfast and lunch,
and maybe a hotel.
Right, and then nothing.
Yep.
And you're like freaked out. You're like, oh my God, please.
It sucks. That kind of thing sucks the window sales, especially as an artist.
Right.
Because you put your heart and soul into it, and you sit there and you watch everybody walk by, and you suddenly feel like I am not good enough.
Or you're even worse. You watch the guy at the table next to you make money hand over fist, and you're not making anything.
Yep.
I
still get that feeling now. Like I'll be at a show and there's nobody at my table at this particular time, and I look around and there's somebody talking shop at every other table, and I'm just like,
right.
But then again, I'm not noticing that when they're at my table, and I'm sure other people, when their tables are empty, are looking around thinking the same thing. You know, so
that's when you sit there and you pray that some kid is going to walk by and drop all his change on the floor. And you're like, no, that's my quarter. Give me that, kid.
Give me that's mine.
Yeah.
Sweet, I can do laundry. All right.
Exactly.
And where I'm not an artist, but I'm married to one, and my wife has done artwork. She's the artist that did our logo. She's currently working on creating a new logo for us, which hopefully we will be debuting in the new year.
Oh, cool.
She has stepped away from vending for a year or so. She wants to take a little bit of break. She started getting overworked between her part-time job, taking care of our daughter, and some other things that are going on. And she started getting overwhelmed, and art and cosplay was not fun for her for a little bit. So she wanted to take a step back from the art, focus more on cosplay, which, this year, she did do Sylvie from How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, and entered a couple. Oh, here comes Darius. Oh no!
Wow!
Take the camera back a little bit.
It took him that long to find the bikini to put on her, huh?
Wow! That looks like she's smuggling 2 watermelons out of the supermarket.
Oh my God!
That was a seedy comment.
Those things are juicy, though.
Wow. Those are definitely not the G.I. Joes I played with when I was a kid.
If those were the G.I. Joes back then, I would still have them.
Yeah. I would too. They'd be stuck to my hand, but I would too.
That's right. The joints don't move anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Why won't her arm bend? I'm sorry, it's rusted shut.
There must be some sand or something stuck in the joint. I'm not sure.
That's terrible.
That's it. But yeah, you have to step back from the stuff that you did. I actually did it by accident. I was doing work for a very long time, and I had to step back because I had a back injury. I was in bed for 3 years. I was literally playing a game online and doing nothing. And it was funny because we have a long lead time when we do work. Like sometimes we'll work on a card set in January and it won't come out until June. And or I'll work on a comic and it won't come out for like a year. So stuff was coming out and people were like, wow, you did a really good job on that book. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. And said, how long did it take you? And it's like, gee, I don't remember. It was 3 years ago. And then the book just came out. So people didn't even know that I wasn't working. But I had to take the time off. And then that's where the whole Mac and Trouble story came in. That's what I got back into it. Mm-hmm. See, we don't hear Darren for almost the whole show, and we don't know what he's doing, and we can't see him on camera, but he's taking extra special time to focus in on these 2 girls.
From the same show.
I can make it a third one from the same show if you want.
Do it.
It won't pass the censors.
Don't tempt me.
I like your show story. That was pretty cool, Jay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I have to say, like this past year, like so the pandemic happened last year, and there was nothing last year. I ended up doing a lot of work, but there were no shows. And this year, I've been having a real hard time, like getting my head back into shows. Like I've been doing some shows, and I've been doing well at them. But
you may be at that point, though. You may be at that point where people dabble. They get their feet wet at shows. First, they'll buy a table, or they'll vend, or they'll show up at a free show, like a friend show or whatever. And then what happens is you get a little disillusioned and you get preoccupied, and you just walk away from shows.
Yeah,
and then you go right back to it, but you've got a lot behind you. It could be one of those type of things. Because for me, I've walked away from shows at least 3 times. So I think this last time is going to be it, though, for me. Because
until I get down there and kidnap you. I told you got to pick a show, and I'm coming down and dragging you to it.
What was the name of the very first show that you went to? Do you remember?
The one at the hockey rink?
Was that? Yeah. Do you remember? Usually those shows have like crazy names.
I honestly do not remember what it was called.
Oh.
It was just nobody knew about the show. The only good thing that came from it was I got to, I didn't know anybody yet. So I got to talk to people that have been doing shows for a while. And people were telling me about like the basic things, like get a vertical banner, all the basics. Create a short pitch for your.
It's a learning experience. It really is. You can, if you're an artist and you're used to being stuck behind the boards, going to a convention is like.
Okay. So there's something like you just said, like being stuck behind the boards. So many artists at conventions are like have the drawing board and are drawing behind their table the whole time.
I hate that.
And they seem to do well doing that, and they get a lot of commission work while people are there. But it's just like I don't. Whenever I do that, I feel like I'm gypping people that pay money to be there.
I'm a showman. I stand up. I talk.
Yep. I very rarely sit. I have my high stool. So
we both do that. We both come up and we talk. We take pictures with people. We give them free stuff. We play around with them.
Yeah.
I used to do card tricks and magic tricks at the table. I had a dice game where people would pay $1 and they'd roll a dice to see if they would either
won.
Right. And everything.
I got Simon now too.
Oh, there you go. That's great. And I used to have the Mac costume at the show. I enjoyed that a lot. Let me see if I have a good picture of Mac. But because I feel like what's the word that I'm looking for? I feel like they deserve a little bit more of my attention. And that's the thing. I think that they deserve more of my attention. I'm going to share a picture with you guys. This is a picture from Rhode Island Comic Con I did years ago. But there's Mac with me at the show.
I got pictures of Mac and me dressed as Gambit.
That's right. I can't find it. I was going to bring it out before. I can't find it. But Mac used to walk around and hand out photos, hand out candy, hand out free trading cards, things like that.
Right.
And my favorite story was these 2 bikers, and they were big bikers. I mean, these guys were like maybe 45, 50 years old. They had the leathers on. They were, and the spikes and everything. They were real bikers. And they're walking around, and they're like knocking into people, and they got a beer and on and on and on and whatever. They're just being toughs. And I think it's great because I used to hang out with a lot of those guys when I was younger. And Mac was at the end of the aisle, like here's my table, and Mac is at the end of the aisle. And he would pace back and forth, and that brings in people. So they just turned the corner, and all you heard was, oh, my God, Kitty. And it was this, like I said, they're like 45, 50 years old. They run up, they hug him, they took pictures with him, on and on and on, and they came and they bought stuff from me, and it was literally like I was talking to 2 teenagers. They were crap until they saw the cat, and then they completely just blew up.
And that's an awesome moment when you can make people drop their defenses and just
I had a ball with it. I really did. As a matter of fact, I didn't even tell you this, Jay. The funny thing is, I actually had another cosplayer that was going to play another one of my characters. I have the whole suit right here in the studio. A ghostly cowboy from a book that I was working on. Mm-hmm. I have a shimmering silver cape. I have the gun and the gun belt, the boots. They're spats that go over the like regular shoes. But the whole outfit, 100%. Even the mask is custom made, and it would have been Mac, and it would have been this ghostly cowboy would have been at the show, and it really looks good because when you go to take a picture, it looks like you're taking a picture of like glitter. It's got like that, yeah. It's got like that shimmer type thing. Oh, there you go. Leanne looks so different.
You're right. She has lost a lot of weight.
She has. She really has. But at least she got dressed up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is Eins.
Aw.
He is our little fluffy boy, and we call him our fluffy boy because look at this tail.
That's a serious tail. Yep.
That is a serious fluffy tail. The rest of him is not as like he is very soft. He is a lovable little fella here. He does not so much liking the camera, but you know.
I understand.
He came too close, so he had to get picked up and make his weekly appearance on the show.
Yeah.
Haru ran. She's like, nope, I'm not going on the air this week. But,
so
I still get her.
So like Rusty was saying, like he's looking for more to give people more entertainment when they go to a show.
Right.
That's kind of like why I created this guy here. He harasses people. People have arguments with him. The kids play with him.
Wonderful.
It's great, but like I still feel like it's not enough. So like this RPG thing that I've been getting into, like I want to create a way that people can just kind of sit down at my table and play for a little bit, just to be something more than just shopping. Mm-hmm. I've been always bothered by the concept of you just pay money to go in a door, and then it's just shopping.
Yeah, it's like a mall. You feel like you're at a mall,
right? But you're paying to go into the mall before you even start shopping at the mall. It's like
that's right.
No, there needs to be, and I know they're panels. But I was talking to a friend of my wife's who traveled all over the world, and she's been to Comic-Cons in other countries. And she went to one of the ones that I was at, and she was like, "Where's the music?" Like she's like, "We had parades going through the place. There's music all the time. There's people dancing. There's a dance floor. There, like, where's the other stuff? It's just shopping." And I was like, "Yeah, it kind of is just shopping."
We were friends with this one lady at a convention, and she said that in the UK they had some of the stars of Star Wars, Doctor Who, on and on and on, big artists, whatever. There is a big UK contingent of Marvel and DC artists, and they had a live band.
Yep.
They had a parade of zombies that went through the middle of the convention. They had trick-or-treating at the tables. They had a giant blank wall, and everybody donated I don't know whatever the equivalent is of a quarter over there, and to a charity, and then they would get to draw something on the wall.
Yep.
that traveled around to different fairs and different charities and events and whatever. They had Santa Claus to sit on the lap of. They had that CW thing where you stand in front of the green screen and they whatever. Yeah. They had spin the wheel stuff. She literally said it was literally like celebrities, comic vendors, entertainment was
and that's what I'm trying to bring back.
Right.
I want to entertain people. I've learned that
I think that's great.
If you make more of a lasting impression that way,
Oh yeah,
it's just so much better. Sitting there, the people sitting there, and I'm sorry, I have a lot of friends that sit there and look down, and they might even be listening now, and they work on the drawing, and that works for them, and great. I'm glad it works for you. It doesn't work for me.
I don't mind offending. I don't mind offending anybody that just sits there and does it. I know that a lot of these artists do not sell themselves. What they do is they sell their pen. They buy a table, they go to the show, they do hundreds of commissions, they line them up, and that's what they're there for. I'm sorry, I'm not a trained monkey. I go there on my laurels. I get hired at shows for my credits.
And Rusty could throw poo at you at any time, so just remember he is not a trained monkey.
And hang by my tail. But the thing is that I don't have time for that. When people ask me for commissions, I give them my card and I say the same thing I always do. I don't want to take my attention away from anybody. I don't want to be rushed. I want to do it correctly in the studio. Whenever I mail something out, I always give people free stuff like free signed cards, or if I have a box of comics or whatever.
I have a box of swag. I always grab like a couple things from the box of swag. There you go. Those go in there too.
That's it. And the funny thing is that I've never had somebody once say, "Oh, okay, well then never mind," because once I tell them, and the other thing is, how'd you like to work on a commission and somebody bumps the table,
right,
or spills something? I've had that happen to me before.
I'll do the occasional picture at a show if I have enough downtime, and it's like I'm like, all right, if you don't mind, if I can get it done, you're going to be here tomorrow. I'll get it done. But as soon as somebody walks up to my table, I fold it, put it off to the side, and it's last priority.
They deserve your attention.
Yeah.
I tell the same story. I'm going to shorten this a lot, but I tell the same story every time I do a panel. You're a collector, and you're looking for that one issue of Fantastic Four. I have every issue from number 1 all the way down except for, 175. So you go around to all the dealers and you find it. You don't remember the name of the dealer. You don't remember how much you paid. You don't even remember what show it is after a while. You just go online and say, hey, I got all of the issues now. I just got my last one. I'm done. They don't remember, but they will remember when the guy in the Met costume runs up and grabs their hat and runs away, or they took a picture with a 7-foot-tall cat, or the guy at the table did magic tricks, or the guy has a puppet that's acting like, sarcastic and rude towards people in a funny way, or whatever. And the interesting thing is, this is all entertainment, and we have become kind of a nation of binge watching. We've become kind of a nation of all at once. Go to the big box stores. Instead of buying a 4-pack of toilet paper, you get a 24-pack. And then instead of watching one episode every week at 8 o'clock, you can watch all 13 episodes as a binge or whatever. So, the thing is, the $5 in someone's pocket is not just in competition for a comic book. It's also in competition for a video game, something to stream, something to eat, something to drink, gambling, whatever it is. And everybody has a different hobby because they're not just comic book shows anymore.
No, they're not.
The first comic book shows that I went to were not pop culture. It was literally long boxes of comics as far as the eye could see. Every once in a great while, somebody had an action figure, like the Mego toys or whatever, and other dealers would be like, hey, did you see that guy? He's got a toy on his thing. What the hell? Right. And they didn't do that. Now you're in competition with your neighbor.
Right. Well, now, it's a different climate too. That's where you had to go to find issue 175 of Fantastic Four.
Right.
Nowadays, with the internet, the thousands of long boxes are right there.
Right.
You don't have to go to a warehouse where shows going on.
Now there's online conventions.
Yeah.
So it's like
but you know what? Those don't those work for that kind of thing. But I really and I've done a lot of the online conventions when you talk about things and stuff. But people the connection you make at a convention, you don't make that way. You just don't.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make a connection even here. This is great, and anyone that's listening can learn all kinds of wacky crap from us. and we have a great time talking, and it's a great promotion for all of us. But it's not the same connection you get talking to somebody at a table. You know the same thing, Doug. I mean,
Oh yeah,
at a convention when you meet people, it's different.
We've talked about it on the show because I have, during the pandemic, I bought. They were free, but you had to sign up for Virtual Crunchyroll Expo. Funimation did an online con. There was 2 or 3 other anime/comic cons that went virtual during the pandemic that I signed up to be a part of. Some of them were in parts of the country I may never have a chance to visit.
Right.
And you get the virtual panels, which was great because you were able to promote your panel, promote what your subject to a wider number of people than you could in person. The average panel room, you might fit 100, 200 people if you're at, say, an Anime Boston, New York Comic Con, something like that, where you may get 1,000 people in a room, 2,000 if it's a big venue, and there's no guarantee you're going to fill it out. Where an online panel, you could reach millions and millions of people if they all came on.
There's nothing wrong with any of these things. We have gotten to the point where we've modernized and automated all these things over time. And, it's just natural progression. I don't want to say it's evolution because nothing beats being in person. Nothing beats holding a book in your hand. Nothing beats walking around a comic convention. Nothing beats wearing the costume. But you have to expect that these things are coming. When I had been doing comics for a long time and somebody started scanning the pages of their comic and putting them online, and everybody was like, oh my God, that's like a really cool thing. Oh, I can't wait to do that, blah, 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 until they realized the industry hadn't progressed enough in the 90s. So there was no outlet to make money. There were no pay sites. There was nothing. Right. So people, because we were all
pass it from disc to disc, basically. Yeah.
Right. And after a while, it got, the very first, a lot of people don't know this, but the very first appearance of a digital comic actually came in the form of a disc that you got in General Mills cereal back in the mid 1990s. And it was DC Comics, and it was Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. And it was just stray images, a short story, a couple of panels, whatever. And it was on like a disc, just like a regular disc. And the first time someone coined the phrase digital comics, it actually had nothing to do with digital comics. It was the character that Jonathan Brandis played on the show Sequest. He actually coined that phrase for the very first time. And the minute that he coined that phrase, you saw it everywhere like the next day. Like it was just there. But it's so funny because it was all disjointed. It was just like when you used to get records on the back of the cereal boxes and you had to cut out the circle and then you would put it on your phonograph, and it was always warped.
Oh yeah.
But, whatever. But,
it was that little needle going like this.
Right. But it was it's the evolution of the entertainment industry. They found a new facet and they ran with it,
Yep. Oh, definitely. And like you said, nothing will ever replace the person-to-person connection you get at conventions. Cosplaying will never be the same if it goes digital. Artists, being able to see the artwork and purchase artwork. It's great to look on like a Facebook page or some of the other sites out there where creators can promote their materials and stuff. But until you're able to go there in person, and Darren, I think you agree with this, until you're able to go there in person and physically see the merchandise, there are a lot of figures out there that are fakes. And people try to just pass them off as, the real thing. It's, I can get a legit Malim figure from this vendor and it's $78, or I can get what looks like the same figure from that guy over there and it's $25. The difference is that one's a knockoff. And if you're online searching, you have no way of knowing if you're getting a real, genuine merchandise or if you're getting a knockoff. And Rusty and Jay, you both know that there are artists out there, or people who get tables selling pirated artwork. So you don't know if you're getting authentic art from some people or not.
I was at a convention one time, and this lady had those tilted bins all over her table filled with posters. They were all shrink wrapped and they were gorgeous. And we were going through them one time because we were going to buy our youngest son. We were going to buy a poster of one of his favorite movies. So we're flipping through, and I'm like, holy crap, and I don't want to say the names. There's my friend's artwork, and there's another guy's artwork. So I started going through, and I pretended I was a customer, and I grabbed all of them. And I guess the lady must have thought that I was, a big customer. Like, I'm going to get like all 20 or 30 of these posters. And I grabbed them, and then I called the security guard over, and I said, these are all stolen prints. They literally would go online, find the artwork, blow it up in Photoshop, print it off at Staples or whatever, and sell them. We were selling our 11 by 17s for like $10, and they're selling them for like $20.
Yep. I dealt with last time I was at Rhode Island, I was next to one of those giant walls of prints.
I hate that.
And I'm like, I first thought like, are you one of the art? Like I could tell there were like 20 artists.
Right.
20 different artists. And I was like, you one of the artists? No, they just sent me out to sell things. So I'm like, do the artists know you're selling? And he's like, I just work for the company. And I'm like,
right. They're not. They have no connection to what they're doing. It's like it's not even like they're vendors. It's like they're a vending machine.
Yeah, that was one of those. That was one of those soul sucking shows for me because I had original artwork prints. I'm the artist and I'm signing them, and mine were the same price as the wall of mass-produced anonymous stuff next to me.
Right.
And people were crowding over there buying those, and I'm like,
I can't stand when an artist has a wall of prints and it's their own work. I hate those wall of prints. I was at a show one time, a huge show, like a giant wizard show, and the board, it was up like on two poles, and it was all the prints between. Yep. And it literally fell right across the aisle. It literally was so big. It went across the aisle and hit the table across from it and knocked over the display. And I was at another one where one caught fire. I hate them. I do. I think it looks trashy. If you wanted to go to a swap meet, go to a swap meet. Don't go to a comic convention.
So I feel like, I know a lot of people also do the cage thing where you build the cage with all the prints and you have like your little window in the middle that you can see people through.
Right.
I know you do that a lot, but I don't know. I need to see people when they start looking over here. A lot of times, like even with my table, which I don't have any of that at, first thing I do when I'm talking is if I have the room is I walk around to the other side of the table to, interact with the person more. And I tried the wall thing once. I have the material, like I have those snap together cages. Yeah, I did it. I'm like, let me try this thing. Halfway through the show, I just took it down. I'm like, nope, I can't.
I've never done a wall of prints, but I have books. Like
and I do I have the stand where I put them all in hard sleeves and put it to the side. You can flip through them,
Stuff like that is fine in my opinion, but I want somebody to interact with the table. I don't want them to just walk up to it and say, oh, look, there's 100 pictures at once, overwhelmed, walk away. I want somebody to actually interact with the table, flip through the book and see the prints, flip through the cards, look at the books in there. I have a long box of comics I worked on, blah, blah, blah. I've had good luck with it. When people come over, they see something. They spend more than a minute because you can sneak in a whole wall of prints in like seconds.
Right.
And then depending on the convention.
I was going to say the busier conventions, I think where it's too loud to be able to have a conversation with somebody or too crowded. Yeah, I think the wall of prints does better because they can just be like, I want that.
Right. Well,
I know you guys, Doug, I know you do the wall of prints, the cage style thing. But you guys, I see you all the time come around from your table. You're interacting with people too. You're doing it the way you should.
What we've always done is Leanne is not the best at promoting herself and her work.
Oh my God, he said his wife's not the best.
I got it. I recorded it, Rusty. We got it. Okay.
She's not the best at promoting herself.
You said it again.
I think it's my ringtone now. Oh my God.
That's why she has me there to interact and try to lure people in. I people watch while she works on stuff.
You're her booth babe.
I am the booth babe. And you know, that's why I walk around the table, so when people look in, they see Evie as a real booth baby. And
booth baby.
And then, you know, and sometimes we just walk up to random people like Jay's wife, hand them Evie and walk away, and 2 hours later they return.
I remember that. My wife shows up, she's like, "Look, I got a baby." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
I think that was at Plattsburgh Comic-Con one year where we just kind of like snuckily, Jay's wife was setting up first of the show, and she's putting up the 5x7s in the casing and stuff, and I just slowly went up behind her, pushed the stroller up with Evie in it, and went back to the table and watched, because our table wasn't far from where Jay and Denise's were. And she turns around and goes, "Oh, hello, where'd you come from? What? Oh, you're mine now." And she just kind of took her around.
Was that the one where we gave her the print that she held on to for years?
Yeah, she held on to it. Was the greatest thing, because I think it was like a year or two ago. I sent you a picture of her sleeping in the car. She still had that print, and she got it,
you know, some people have like, you know, the baby blanket they grew up with. She had the mini print from me that she grew up with.
That's funny. Good for you. That's funny.
And I was like, you can use this as promotion. She was asleep holding his dragon print, like, you know,
like a blanket.
One of the greatest things in the world. It's like, Jay, you could just promote your art as, you know, kids love it. Puts them to sleep. Gives the parents quiet time.
I don't know that. I don't know how good that promotion is. My prints put people to sleep.
My prints put kids to sleep. How's that?
That's good.
Be great. I take a photo. Actually, get a bunch of people to just like be asleep at my table. Just like in piles around the table. Just take a couple shots.
Oh my God, I would help set that up.
Wait, print them on chloroform. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You like this picture? There you go. You like this picture? You like this picture? Okay,
about to say, then Doug would probably put them all in bear suits.
I am not. Actually, we've been talking, and I don't think I'm going to be doing the unit at Anime Boston. I think we're going to be changing things up a little bit. I'm still looking at the crossplay side of things, but I'm leaning more towards the possibility of dressing up as Miss Kobayashi from Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid.
But that's a much simpler cosplay.
It is.
Get a white t-shirt, get a red tie, get some glasses.
It's a yellow tie and a white button-up shirt with a pocket. I've been looking into it. Today, actually. I need gray dress pants. I need to find the brown shoes. And we already found a wig for it that's like $35.
You know, it's funny when comic conventions were not doing very well. It didn't have anything to do with the industry. It just had to do with the fans. A lot of people would say that cosplay brought more light to comic conventions, and it basically rescued the pop culture industry, and it became a big thing. But now, it's funny how a lot of people in the industry have turned on the cosplay community. I find this is not meant to slight anybody or hurt anyone's feelings, but there have been times when I've had cosplayers walk around and they don't buy anything. You know, I spent $500 on my costume and $50 to get in, and I don't have a pocket, you know, that kind of thing. Or let's all stand in front of the table and talk, or whatever. My biggest pet peeve, and this is actually kind of a funny story about cosplay. I don't want to say who it was. I was interviewed by a famous comic panelist who did a lot of like podcasts and whatever. And my segment was supposed to be in their show. And I think they edited my segment out because of something I said, which is fine because I don't give a damn. I don't hold back. But I said, my big thing about cosplay is I see people dress up, but they don't act the part. Like if you're the Joker, act like the goddamn Joker. If you're the Hulk, flex a muscle. If you're Batman, I'm Batman, or throw a batarang, or do a trick, or make a prop. We were at a comic convention called Your Minicon, which was one of the worst I ever went to. I don't care if it hurts the guy's feelings and he sues me. And it was in Connecticut. We showed up. I was one of 2 art guests, and there was like 50 tables, and almost every table was cosplayers. It was weird. This one girl had on a wig, and she had a shirt, a crop top shirt that said something about Harley, whatever it was. And then she was wearing like Daisy Duke shorts. And it was literally like an ad for a whorehouse, this girl. And all she was doing was taking pictures, selling prints of herself dressed up in seductive stuff. Then I didn't go to the second day. I actually quit the show. It was the only time in my career I've ever quit right in the middle. Went home. That's it. Done. But the second day, she literally put on green nylons because she was coming as Poison Ivy. And she bought like those Ivy strips that you buy like at Michael's or at Home Depot. And she shoves them down the nylons. Like, and she's just running around like in a green bathing suit with a red wig and, these little leaves in her nylons and on and on and on. And it's like, that's garbage. Like, where's the voice? Where's the nut of it? Where's the trick?
I think she was exposing the nut of it, but
yeah. But the thing is that it's like to me, it's not just costume. There should be a certain amount of acting and playing with it. Otherwise I call them trick-or-treaters. That's what I call them. They're worthless. Not to be rude to anybody who just dresses in a costume and walks around and whatever, that's fine. But I have actually been friends with and hired professional cosplayers who act like the character, like one that I worked with in the past, Dave DeVenter. He wears some incredible costumes and he acts like the character. He runs around and he does videos, and like, for example, he dressed up as the Adam West Batman, and he had Lee Merriweather, who was the original Catwoman, and he brought her into the replica Batmobile, and they made a small video at one of the shows that we did. And he gets online and he does all these things with cosplayers, and they act like the characters. And to me, that's what it should be all about.
If you're going to hire a cosplayer for a show, it should be something that's there to entertain the people that are there. Yeah. But I mean, as far as somebody just dressing up and showing up to the show just on their own, just wanted to wear a costume, then it's like, all right, you know what?
Even in that case, I have to disagree. Even in that case, I feel like if you're going to spend $500 on your costume, you could spend 5 minutes rehearsing a trick. Or if you're going to spend, 3 hours putting on makeup and getting your costume ready and lugging all your equipment to a show and whatever, you could put on a little bit of a show. I went to.
It is a little disappointing when they don't. Yeah,
it is. I went to Saratoga Comic-Con, and I don't want to say who it is, but one of these guys was dressed up like he was the Hulk. There's a 5'0" I don't want to say the race, but this 5'0" guy, and he's dressed up like the Hulk, painted all green and everything. And you're looking at this guy and you're going, this is like mini Hulk,
Here's the Jolly Green Giant.
Yeah, he's more like a spur of broccoli, really. But he goes out and whatever, and he posed for a picture. I pretended to get on my knees next to him so that when they shot the picture,
taller.
Right. But I mean, even that didn't work. And flex some muscles. No, I don't feel like it. Blah 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 blah. And he was actually a guest at the table, selling pictures of himself dressed up in all these costumes. So I'm like, you know what? If you're gonna go, there is
at that level, it should be.
And sometimes the cosplayers come in wearing better costumes than the characters that are there.
Yep.
Like one time I went to a convention and this one girl was dressed to the nines wearing Elsa from Frozen. And she was standing next to the girl who was cosplaying as Elsa, who was a guest behind the table. And she literally put her to shame. It looked like a Party City costume. I mean, it was a joke.
Yeah, that's one reason why I thought Kobayashi would be a good one for me, because anybody who's seen the anime Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, Kobayashi is very laid back, kind of, I could go and do this, but it's my day off and I just kind of want to sleep. Toru, do what you need to do, just I'm not eating your tail. So I think where it's very lethargic, very laid back, but there's a method to the madness, and I've watched both seasons recently. So I'm able to pick up things. Another cosplay that I was thinking of doing from the same one is Fafnir, because he's the only male dragon that really makes an appearance. And he turns into like that psychotic otaku where he's like, I'm going to make a comic about dark arts, and I'm going to make this sick and twisted, and I'm going to sell copies at this Comic-Con. And doesn't sell a single copy. The people on both sides of him sell out. One of those people.
Story of my life.
It's like it'd be like comparing anything I would draw being tabled next to Jay and Rusty. They would sell out, and I'd be sitting there like, look at my stick figure.
With my luck, stick figures would be in, and I would get nothing.
Yeah, we both be sitting there. You're drawing a stick figure. You're just handing people when they're handing you $10 a drawing. You're as fast as you can draw them. There you go, go.
Right. But that's I'm gonna miss doing conventions because I really enjoyed the people. But I have to say, some of the stuff that I've seen lately from the conventions, I really am not happy with. Like getting a photo taken with. Getting a photo taken with a celebrity. You're wearing a mask, he's wearing a mask, and there's a plastic screen between you. Yeah. And this one guy posted it because he had pictures taken with some of the guys from Supernatural. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, are you sure it was him behind the mask? And then people are like, well, if you pay me like $5, I'll go into Photoshop and I'll remove the plastic screen and whatever. And people are like making money off of it. And I'm like,
if you're going to do a fake picture, then just,
Right.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I'd be pissed because he spent over $100 to wear a mask and stand 4 feet away, but with a screen between him. Yeah. I couldn't do it.
Nope.
That's one thing I liked about Kineticon earlier this year is they had quite the extensive guest list. Yes, we were required to wear masks, but especially from the standpoint of I've done social media, I've done this show for 7.5 years. The voice actors they had there, I know are them because a lot of them I've interviewed on the show and had never had the opportunity to meet. So getting a chance to meet Jeremy Inman in person. And, they remember me, Todd Habercorn, a very early on guest.
That's a different situation. You're there to meet them. A lot of these people like to get a picture with them. And then it's like, well, now you're just being silly.
We got pictures.
I think it was too early for them to try to be, return to convention. I think it was too, pardon the pun, but I think it was too early for them to do like photo ops with people and on and on and on. I think what they could have done was they could have done like interactive panels. I think that would have been a good idea, and it might have introduced a whole new facet to it. But I kind of feel like it was too early for them to return to conventional methods. There are people now who go to these shows, and they're expecting it to be what it was 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
Oh, it's definitely not. And I may catch flack for saying this from a lot of the diehard fans of conventions, but I think this pandemic was good for the convention scene because I've done shows, and Darren, you know this, we've talked quite a bit in the past of, are there too many Comic-Cons and anime cons and small cons popping up everywhere? Pre-pandemic, every weekend, within a few hour drive, you could have 2 to 5 shows you could hit. As vendors, I know there were times when you have 2 good shows that you've always done well at, but they're the same weekend. So now you have to choose. Do I do A or B?
It hasn't slowed down. It's like I literally have. I mean, I just pace myself. I'm like, I'm doing at the most 1 big show and 1 little show a month, and that's it. Like I could every single weekend be running somewhere, and it's within driving distance.
We used to do that. We used to do like 25, 30 shows a year. We would be sometimes it was a couple of times where we did 2 shows in 1 weekend.
I would be single if I did that.
I've been lucky because it's part of my thing. Like, in other words, it's not like I'm a vendor. It's not like I'm just going to push a book. I was invited like as a guest for credits and things like that,
Right.
Which is nice. I don't run down anybody else. Vendors are very important to shows, and artists going to shows, pushing a book, production, publishers, on and on and on. Like Doug with his show and other podcasters. I don't begrudge anybody anything. We're all in the same boat.
We want to entertain people.
Right. But the thing is that, I just have a different story than everybody else. And for me, I think that I just think it was too early. I think it was too early to go back. As for the amount of shows, there were a lot of shows, but the problem with that is nothing to do with COVID or pandemic or anything. And it doesn't even have to do with greed either, which is something I hear all the time. What it has to do with is, I'm not going to name any names. Here's a promoter and he's doing a show, let's say, in one state, and then automatically adds another one and then takes over someone's spot and then does another one. And here's a giant promoter, and first he brings you in and you're doing work with him and you think you're friends, and then he uses you as a stepping stone to get bigger people and you're forgotten, and on and on and on. I would say out of about 20 promoters I've worked with, only about 4 are any good. The rest of them are no damn good. All rude bastards. They've all got, their attitudes, and they're dripping with greed and selfishness and jealousness. And it just really, it bugs me. It does. That was a main factor for me stopping shows. Then when the pandemic came along, it made it to the point where it was just easy for me to say, that was my excuse. It happened, and I'm like, oh, I don't have to tell anybody I'm not doing it anymore.
Thank you for not saying it was me, Rusty.
Yeah, and thank you for saying it wasn't me. All those horrible memories of Evie just, being a pain at your table. And
I actually love it when kids are at shows. I really do. I love it when kids are at shows. What I don't like is when people have attitudes at shows. I went to a show in New York, and the vendors were all hanging around my table during dead points, and we were all joking around, and there were a couple of people from Star Trek, and they came over, and we were all joking around. We were taking pictures, and on and on and on. And who's that? Was that Good Brag?
Good Brag Pro?
Good Brag Pro. That's cool. Hey, what's up, man? Who are you?
It said it's Plan from Facebook. So if you know a Plan on Facebook.
Oh, okay. I didn't read up that far. Thank you. What's up, dude? but the thing is that the promoters got very greedy in some respects, and in other respects they got rude. I won't name any names, but there was a promoter that I did work with constantly over and over, and then at one point, why should I invite you as a guest when I can sell the table to somebody and make money off of them? And that attitude just carried over, and long-standing 10-year relationship down the toilet, and I walked away. I don't know. I just the industry is very different when you do, like, on a local level when you do these shows.
Mm-hmm.
I really only know a couple of really good promoters that I like, or at least they're good guys and they do good promotions, But
if they want a podcast, come on. I mean, I would love to be a guest at a show.
well, listen, I have to say, for what you do, you really don't even need a table. You could walk around with a recorder and do your thing. I agree, Jay. 100%. I usually have a blanket on me, my leg up, and watching television, and the cats are annoying me until I fall asleep.
And if you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. You are watching Anime-Zing Radio here on YouTube. I'm your host, Doug Engler. In the co-host seat, as always, is our good friend, Mr. Darren Starling, who says he's still awake.
But am I?
Yeah, you'd never. I'm trying to figure out which one of those two girls he is.
Oh, you didn't see the third one earlier, or the fourth one?
I saw it.
We've seen, and this is the first night we've actually had fun changing the little captions underneath. This has been really entertaining. So if you've been seeing me laugh about snickering, it's what we're all putting up there as the goofy little things.
What are you talking about, Doug?
Darren's little "I'm still awake" thing. That's what got me laughing. And if you're new here and you're enjoying the content, hit the like button on the video, hit the subscribe button. We are trying to hit 200 subscribers by the end of the year. Once we hit that, we are going to be doing a giveaway where one lucky subscriber will get to sit in the guest co-host seat for a voice actor interview. And we love giving away voice actor interview spots. We love connecting the fans to the voice actors. I know we're on a comics kick tonight. We do talk a lot of anime throughout the shows.
We can talk voice acting if you want. We both do voice acting too.
Oh yeah, and it's we love giving back to the community of the Comic-Con and anime world, because anime has helped me personally through some very, very tough times. And I started this show 7.5 years ago as a way to give back to the community. And through doing a platform like this, I have had the honor to meet some of the most amazing people, whether it's Jay and Rusty, who I'm so honored to have them joining us tonight. Darren as our co-host. He started out as a fan, just tuning in back 7 years ago when we first started, to getting to talk to over 50 of the biggest names in anime voice acting, including people from Pokemon, Dragon Ball, My Hero. You talk about some of the biggest shows out there now. We've been lucky enough to talk with Monica Rial and Todd Habercorn, and I got to meet Jamie Markey. We haven't interviewed her yet, but I had a chance to meet her and some of the other big names in anime, and we love finding the up and comings. What was that, Darren?
Darren started out as a fan and later became an air conditioner.
I started off as a
See, that's a thinker.
You stumped him, because it is late for him too.
Yeah, I've been nodding off around 10 o'clock almost every day this week.
And so we've been having a lot of fun. I do want to thank you guys so much for joining us well past your bedtime. And, of course, we always do our shameless promotions. Jay, why don't you go first? Anywhere people can find you, the stuff you're working on. Let everybody know how they can find Jay Mooers.
Sure. Well, you can start by, if you can spell my name correctly, which I guess I'll put up on the screen here. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. I guess I'm on Twitter, even though I never use it. But but you're better off with Facebook or Instagram or DeviantArt. Just look up Jay Moores. My last name is spelled 3 vowels in a row, so just do that and you'll find me. You can also go to my website, www.edenparktales.com. I don't update it as often as I should. Best place to get current stuff from me would be on Facebook or Instagram.
And Rusty, where can everybody find you?
I can barely keep a website or work or whatever together. So literally, you can just find me on Facebook.
He's always there.
Right. I keep it open the whole time while I'm working. I was actually working on a card when we first started the show, and I had to put it down because I didn't want to be rude to anybody. But I do a lot of like Indiegogo campaigns for my stuff, and people can find my stuff on eBay. I just don't have time for a website. I wish I did, because Jay's got a beautiful site, and I just don't have the ability like I used to be. But oh yeah, because I do the face swapping thing every day. Yeah, if you go on my page, I do a lot of comedy stuff and talk about work and everything. But we have work coming up. Jay's got his game Faye that we're both teaming up on artwork for. We just got done doing the dinosaur set together. We're about to do a new trading card set, and Jay's going to be a big part of that, and then a new comic, and Jay's going to be a part of that too. And we both do voices for UK cartoons that I don't want to say which ones just yet because they're
production.
but they're restructuring, so their channel is going to be back up on Roku and on YouTube and on Amazon. And Jay is also a part of my Mac and Trouble film. The trailer is up now, and on YouTube and on Twitter, and that's going to be released. It's supposed to be released this coming year, but with COVID and everything, we might probably see a delay. So,
much like with a lot of stuff, things got pushed back.
You can't help it, it's just the way things are. So, but anyway, that's it. People can find me on Facebook. I talk to everybody all the time. I give out a lot of tips. I give away a lot of free cards and things like that. So,
next week here on Anime-Zing Radio, we are going to be welcoming a very talented actress and voice actress. You know her from Suicide Squad. She also voiced Himiko in Show by Rock Mashimaresh, which was basically my introduction to her, because they sing even the songs they got the licensing to English dub, which is very rare in the world of anime. And her singing voice, basically, she's a new face in anime, not really any credits outside of Himiko, some background, some all of stuff. And my God, when I heard her sing, it was like, I need to know who this is. And we were lucky enough to track her down, have her on our Masha Myra special at the end when we left Blog Talk. And we're going to be welcoming back Giovanni Cruz to the show. And as a very special treat, we have a special guest co-host. We donated the guest co-host spot for this show to a small convention that went on in New Hampshire. They were doing a charity auction for New Hampshire Children's Hospital. So we donated the guest co-host spot, and Rachel Mather is going to be joining us as the guest co-host for that show. So we are excited to get to talk with Rachel and, of course, welcome Giovanni back to the show. November 28th, we currently don't have a guest lined up, but things could change. December 5th, we have a crazy month. We're going to be welcoming Kitum Cosplay, an amazingly talented cosplayer. The makeup work that they do is unbelievable. And as a guest co-host, we are going to welcome back the person who introduced us to them. Voice actress Christy Rothrock, who introduced us to Kitum Cosplay, is going to have the chance to interview them. So how cool is it to have a voice actor interview a cosplayer? That's a bit of a change. You don't see that very often. December 12th, we're going to be welcoming back another good friend of ours who we met at Saratoga Comic-Con. Tico Flores Kyle is going to be joining us. It's been a while since we've talked with him. And then December 18th, a special Saturday show, our last show of the year, we are going to be doing a voice actor roundtable. So far, Christy Rothrock has confirmed. We're waiting to hear back from a few other people, but a lot of really, really cool stuff that's going on. The 18th is going to be our last show of 2021. Of course, we're taking the 26th and January 2nd off for the holidays, and it's definitely looking forward to the shows coming up. And 2022, we are going to be focusing heavy on conventions again, but instead of the KC Creations or the KC Fox, good God, it's getting late. KC Fox tables, where my wife's taking a small break from the artwork, we're going to look at getting tables for AZR and really trying to push the show out there. So look for us at some shows. We may look into Anime Boston. We may look at trying to get a table at Kineticon. And we have 4 or 5 shows that we have radar set for. So once again, a big thank you to Jay and Rusty for joining us. The question that came in from the back, from the chat room was, Jay, what is that on your back? A statue?
That's Simon. This is Simon. He's one of my characters from my show. My comic.
I was going to say Denise lost weight.
No.
He just wants to be in trouble with everyone's wife.
I know. Careful, she kind of knows where you live.
His face looks like a burned up version of Zapdos.
I don't know if Denise could hear that, but if she can, hi.
Look, I have my Darren costume on.
You look just like him.
Oh,
Oh boy.
Oh, hi.
But once again, thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. Like I said, if you're new here, you enjoyed the shows, check out the other shows on the channel. With conventions coming back, we're going to be doing more recordings at the conventions that we make it to for bonus content. Also, Wednesday, we're going to be doing a special game show edition of Anime-Zing Radio. We are going to bring back a favorite that a lot of our fans told us that they loved when we did it before. So we are going to do another Smash or Trash anime character show where basically my wife is going to come up with probably between 10 and 20 characters, because 51 characters was a bit much last time. And she is going to show us the pictures of these characters, and we are going to decide based off of the pictures whether we would smash or trash that character.
And hope and pray someone gets tripped up by a trap again.
She said she found a new trap, but didn't say who it was or where they were from. So be at the ready there, and there will probably be at least one trap. And maybe we could get Jay to come on. We can see if we can trip him up on there. Be like, Jay, would you smash or trash this anime figure if she was real?
If she was real? Eyes that big? I'd be a little freaked out.
Yeah, oh my God.
Here's the whole figure.
It's like E.T. It's like E.T. on steroids. I wouldn't know what to do with eyes like that.
Well, entice me a little bit. But that's just the special shows we do during the week. We get a little bit crazier, get a little bit we're not as uptight. That
Rusty,
looks like not
uptight.
Sorry. This character here her name's Malim Nava. She's from that time I got reincarnated as a slime. So it looked like Natsumi. It's not the Natsumi I was thinking of, but the Natsumi I know of is the best girl from Date Alive. Sorry, Darren.
I believe you meant to say Nightmare.
No.
Does your wife know that you play with dolls?
She made me buy this one.
Oh, that's his standard line.
No, literally, she's like, we need a Malim, and we saw this one at Bakuretsu Con in Colchester, Vermont, and it was like under $40. And she's like, we need that. I'm like, okay.
Mhm.
But thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Like I said, Wednesday we're going to do a special game show edition of Anime-Zing Radio's Smash or Trash. Next Sunday, we're going to be welcoming Giovanni Cruz and special guest co-host Rachel Mather. So until next week, have an awesome week. Stay safe. Be good out there. Thanksgiving's right around the corner. Happy Thanksgiving to those if you celebrated early. I'm looking at Jay. And
Today.
have a wonderful week, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on Anime-Zing Radio.